All right, so today we're going to do something a little different. We are going to crack open and dissect a single, really high-stakes document. It's a formal complaint filed by a professor against his own university. And let me tell you, this whole story kicks off with a bang.
Wow. I mean, just listen to that. That is the very first line of the document we're looking at today. It's not your typical HR complaint, is it? This immediately tells you this isn't just a grievance. This is a declaration of war from a professor who feels he's been wronged on a fundamental level.
So what is this document exactly? Well, for our purposes, let's treat it like a case file. It's a formal complaint that Professor Dr. Mohamed Fayad filed against San Jose State University. And in it, he alleges nothing less than a full-blown conspiracy to completely destroy his career. So let's unpack the claims he makes, piece by piece, right from the source. Okay, so let's get the basic facts straight. The document is dated January 25th, 2026, and the accusations inside, they are incredibly serious. We're talking professional sabotage, academic malpractice, and even civil rights violations. So, you gotta ask, right? Who is the person at the very center of this storm?
The complaint itself actually spends a lot of time establishing the credentials of Dr. Mohamed Fayad. And, this isn't just filler, it's a huge part of his argument. He's basically laying his cards on the table and saying, look, this is who I am, and this is what they tried to demolish.
And I mean, just look at this list. According to the complaint, we're talking about a PhD from the University of Minnesota, more than 350 publications, experience as a key expert in legal battles. The point he's making is clear. He wants you to understand his high standing in his field before he tells you how he believes it was all jeopardized.
So where did it all go wrong? According to this document, the entire massive conflict boils down to one single event, a performance review that happened back in the fall of 2018. But Dr. Fayad doesn't just say this review was wrong or unfair, he calls it fraudulent. And his whole reason for that comes down to what he sees as a massive clash of expertise.
Okay, this right here is the heart of his argument. On one side, you have Dr. Fayad, a specialist in software engineering. Think of that as being like the architect who designs the entire skyscraper. On the other side, you have the evaluator, who the complaint describes as a generalist in computer programming. That's more like being an expert in laying the bricks. Dr. Fayad's argument is basically, you can't ask a bricklayer to judge the architect's blueprint. It's absurd.
So building on that idea of a mismatch, the complaint lists some really specific reasons why this was malpractice. It claims the evaluator just didn't have the right expertise, that they acted in procedural bad faith, which basically means they didn't follow the rules on purpose to cause harm. And get this, they never even interviewed him or looked at his actual work. He alleges the whole thing was a hired task, a setup for retaliation.
But here's the thing. That evaluation, that wasn't the end of it. No, according to this complaint, that was just the beginning. It was supposedly the excuse the university used to launch what Dr. Fayad calls a systematic effort to destroy everything, his career, his finances, even his physical health. And this timeline from the document shows you just how things allegedly went downhill, and fast. After that evaluation in 2018, he says he was suspended. Then he returns to work, but with no salary. And finally, he's dismissed entirely in March of 2025. This paints a picture of a years-long campaign, not just a single disagreement. And then, buried in the consequences section, you find what is without a doubt the most serious accusation in the entire document. The complaint alleges that the university knew Dr. Fayad was a heart transplant recipient and that they deliberately endangered his life by cutting off his health insurance. I mean, that just takes this whole dispute to another level entirely, from professional to a matter of life and death.
To describe what he feels happened to him, Dr. Fayad uses this incredibly powerful phrase all through the complaint: academic assassinations. That choice of words is so deliberate. It's meant to tell you this wasn't just a mistake or a bad review. It was a targeted hit designed to end his career.
Okay, so after laying out all of these really intense allegations, what does he actually want? What's the goal here? Well, the final section of the complaint is what's legally called a prayer for relief, which is really just a list of demands. It's his vision for what justice would look like.
And these demands are not vague at all. They're crystal clear. Number 1, a formal investigation into how that evaluator was even chosen. 2, he wants that evaluation report completely wiped from his record, annulled. 3, full financial restitution. He wants his lost wages, benefits, everything back. And 4, he wants a full audit of the university's whole evaluation system to stop academic assassinations from happening to anybody else.
But here's where the strategy behind this document really comes into focus. It's not just what's in the complaint, it's who it was sent to. This was not a quiet internal affair. Dr. Fayad's goal, as he puts it, is to break what he calls the law of silence by making sure his story got in front of a massive audience. And I mean, just get a load of this distribution list. It's absolutely extraordinary. He sent copies to the governor of California, the U.S. Department of Justice, international human rights groups, the media, banks, even Stanford Healthcare. He even copied his own kids on it. This is not just a legal document, it's a public campaign designed to put pressure on the university from every possible angle.
And this final quote really brings it all home. He's framing his entire complaint as an act of defiance. He's saying that staying quiet when you see injustice makes you part of the problem. And he's positioning himself not just as one guy fighting for his job, but as a whistleblower taking on a corrupt system that he claims uses mafia tactics.
And that really leaves us with this huge central question, doesn't it? What happens when you have an institution with all of its rules and procedures on one side, and on the other you have one individual with a detailed, passionate claim of profound injustice? How do you even begin to balance those two things? This document doesn't give us the answer, but it forces us to think about some really big ideas about power, accountability, and what it means to fight a system you believe is broken.